Welcome to We Are Venomaniacs, the Venom Site's official podcast for all of your symbiote news, reviews, and point of views. My name is Orion, and I'm joined by hosts Tyler and Aaron. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Ew.
It's week 3 of our Absolute Carnage podcast series, in which we cover the event's latest comics and tie-ins. Today, we're doing a rapid-fire review of Absolute Carnage vs. Deadpool, number 1.
One whole whopping issue.
Yep, just one issue. And unlike Absolute Carnage, this one's just a regular-sized issue, so it's going to be a pretty quick episode, guys.
Sounds good to me, because if we're doing this up till November, I'm going to get tired real quick.
We get a lot of, some weeks are going to be real brutal.
Yeah, like next week, where we have 4 issues to review.
Oh, do we? Oh, Jesus Christ. Isn't that when Absolute Carnage 2 comes out as well?
Yep, number 2, then we have
Lord,
Lethal Protectors, number 1, Venom number 17.
Oh, Lord, help my wallet, too.
What was the last one?
Lord can't help you when Null's here, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll get my bucks one way or another.
Oh, yeah, the Miles Morales one as well. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But otherwise, today we're talking about Absolute Carnage vs. Deadpool, which is kind of a sequel to Carnage, for Deadpool vs. Carnage, rather, which was a mini-series that was written by Cullen Bunn.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mini-series I honestly actually liked.
It was fun.
Oh, yeah.
We've had a history of Bunn messing involving Deadpool and symbiote stuff, but I honestly thought it was a pretty fun time.
Yes, I loved how he wrote Carnage and Shriek.
Yes.
How Wade called her a suicide girl, and I like how Carnage was actually upset that Wade was hurting Shriek, and he was kind of protective. It's what the fangirls and the fanboys want.
Yeah, no, I did like that he kind of cared about Shriek, even though he has treated her pretty badly in the past.
All right, and at the end, like he was shocked because he actually hurt her. He was just in a jail cell. Oh my God, I just hurt the woman I love. I'm having a crisis. It was good stuff.
Yep,
I liked it, and I guess there were some other symbiotes in there too, weren't there? Maybe a little bit.
There's the Life Foundation 4.
Oh, yeah, and those other dudes from Carnage USA got killed off, which I don't really care about.
Rest in peace, Mercury Team. The dog survived until an issue ago for separation anxiety.
Rip.
Yeah. So,
the cycle continues.
Yep. So with today's issue, we see, I think it looks like maybe almost a tie-in to, I would guess, the Spider-Man and Deadpool series, because there's some pretty heavy Spider-Man-Deadpool interaction in the beginning. I haven't read that series myself, but it seems like that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, I read... Yeah.
Is.
Right, yeah. I read a few scattered of those, when I saw, there's a little Venom appearance in there, right? But, yeah, I mean, I think that series lasted 50 issues, and that's
because it started
that in itself
with...
for a team book is really impressive.
It lasted a long time, and it started out really good with who was it? It was Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness.
Okay,
and that creative team was so good, and they were dealing a lot of heavy stuff with Spider-Man. Actually, you'd think it'd just be a jokey book, but then they got into some serious stuff with Mephisto and whatnot. And I really enjoyed it. But the thing that brought it down for me is that there was a lot of guest issues that just really I didn't care for. And then after that team was done, then it got turned into Spidey versus Deadpool for a bit for the Legacy Leap relaunch. And then Bobby Thompson took it over. And then it sort of started dragging its heels a bit.
Right.
But this does more or less pick up from there, where it's Spidey and Deadpool are sort of reluctant bros on Spidey part. So
right.
Yeah.
So, listen here, all right? Spider-Man and Deadpool have always been a team, but there's a holy trinity that's Deadpool, Spider-Man, and Venom. I'm still kind of mad we never got a Venom appearance in that book, because for years the fans liked that team-up of Venom, Wade, and Peter, and it never happened. So maybe it can happen in Absolute Carnage. Give the fans what we've been begging for years. We want a crossover between all 3 of them. teaming up, doing wacky stuff. That's what we want. Oh yeah, give it to us, Marvel, please.
Yeah. So this issue, great start with pretty much Spider-Man just completely tired of Deadpool's antics. Deadpool decided to throw a birthday party for Peter, but of course Deadpool doesn't know anything about him, so he doesn't know when his birthday is or who his friends are, so instead he invites all of Spider-Man's enemies, which is...
As Deadpool does.
It's pretty hilarious.
I really like that splash page with all the villains. It's a really nice looking splash page. You got you got Swarm, you got Stegron, you got Vermin, the Fly, like everyone's here.
It's a perfect idea. Who wouldn't want that? Yep.
And I also really liked, that Rhino was the only one who actually brought a birthday gift. And his gift was hilarious. It was a Rhino sweater with a horn on the hood.
That's fun.
I did appreciate that because Rhino has had some sort of redemption stories a bit in the past, so it was kind of nice that he was the one that actually got a gift.
And that is a plot device, so excellent storytelling there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's really just this issue is Wade, trying to take Spider-Man's advice of going to get help. And of course, Spider-Man hands him a business card for John Jameson over at Ravencroft. So we see Carnage head over to Ravencroft, and nothing seems correct there. Immediately it's like, well, where is everyone? You have a dead guard here, and it turns out Wade walked in right as Carnage and Man-Wolf, who is John Jameson, of course, and Doppelganger plus a bunch of Carnage doppelgangers have invaded Ravencroft from the previous issue of Absolute Carnage #1.
Well, speaking of that previous issue, the intro of this book takes place before Absolute Carnage even starts, but then this issue takes place after an issue that hasn't come out yet. Yeah. This takes place at least during or after Absolute Carnage 2, and possibly also after the Lethal Protectors #1.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of weird that this is releasing first.
Right. They sort of mention Misty Knight is also there too, and the Lethal Protectors one also is in Ravencroft. So is all of this happening at the same time? You got Venom, Spider-Man, Wade, and all of the Lethal Protectors just all in there at the exact same time? Is that what's happening here?
Because it sounds like they've already split, because he says, like, oh, wow, you, like, this werewolf, like, friggin' John Jameson let Misty Shawshank her way out of here.
Right,
so it's like, is the Lethal Protector does the entire mini take place before this issue? Like,
I don't know. It's best not to think about it. I think Spider-Verse had some worse crossover things, though. So, I don't know, man.
So, then we see, of course, Wade cross paths with Carnage, and Carnage, of course, wants to kill Wade because he just hates the guy,
And I love that. I love that.
Not a lot of love there.
Yeah. And
love that he says, "I just hate that guy."
And Deadpool, of course, gets away from everyone by nuking some forks and metal in microwaves and using them as bombs against the doppelgangers. And then,
so random.
Yeah, and then he gets away, and Carnage. This is where the whole Rhino hoodie comes in. It's like, Man-Wolf mentions, he was wearing a unicorn hoodie, and Carnage corrects him saying, no, it's supposed to be a rhino. And then Carnage says, wait
stupid,
a minute.
It's obviously a rhino hoodie, obviously.
Yeah.
And obviously.
And then Carnage
big difference
says, wait a minute, you might be onto something here, because Deadpool is something of a unicorn, because he had bonded with 5 symbiotes in the past. Now, that's...
4. He specifically says the only human alive to actually have merged with 4 symbiotes.
Oh, yeah.
The only person before that is dead.
Yeah. So before we get into that, though, that's sort of a large leap from saying, "Oh, he looks like a unicorn." Oh, right, and then he had 4 symbiotes before, so he's a unicorn. That's just a lot of thinking for Cletus, I think. But
Look, Null has cleared his mind. All right, he's
right, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just
Yeah.
with Carnage remembering how much he hates Wade. It's like, well, the last time I dealt with Wade was when he was bonded to the Life Foundation symbiote. So
yeah, he's
like,
got a pretty big target on his back. So
right. Well, actually, I think their last encounter, I think that was Axis. After they got reverted, they were waving, say, "Hey, buddy, I'll see you later."
Yeah, no,
friendo."
because
Right?
in the first issue of Axis, or not first issue of Axis, just during Axis, like just before everyone got reverted, when Magneto, I think, recruited all the villains and stuff, and also Deadpool. Like, Carnage said to Deadpool, he's like, "We're gonna have words after this, you and I," because he was still pissed at him. And then
after that,
after everyone got reverted in the Deadpool issue, like the only words they had were like, "Hi Wade, hi Cletus."
What's up, buddy? That's
So
funny.
that was the last time they saw each other, I think.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, funny stuff.
yeah, so definitely, of course, that line that Carnage says that he's the only living human who was ever bonded to 4 symbiotes at the same time.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's kind of giving it away, saying that the only other person who ever did that, Scott Washington, who was hybrid,
like Scott Washington,
is dead.
and I like Hybrid. Please bring him back. He's a good idea. Same with Mania.
He was cool, but he's just...
He and Mania are like good ideas, just not timed well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So overall, what did you guys think of the issue overall?
I liked it. Obviously not as much as Scream and Separation Anxiety, just because it was mainly focused on Wade, and I think we all might agree that Wade kind of gets forced in with symbiotes a little bit much. But if this is an event that's all about heroes that have been with symbiotes, then Wade's up there. But it's just kind of I don't know.
He's got to get involved at some point. So
right, yeah. So kind of mandatory. So
yeah, I have to agree. Before this issue, I've been against Deadpool being involved with symbiotes mainly because of how Cullen Bunn has tried to shoehorn Wade into symbiote history by making him the first human host of the Venom symbiote, and that just rubs me the wrong way. But this issue, I would say, is an exception, along with, of course, the Deadpool versus Carnage series. And it's an average issue, I say, and I say the same as Bizarre, that Aaron, that I liked the 2 previous tie-ins better, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And picking up on that one point of the whole Back in Black controversy, whether it's canon or not, I'm curious because recently on Twitter, Donnie definitely subtly implied that he doesn't consider it canon. And so I wonder if he specifically mentioned to them, like, oh, don't say that he bonded to Venom, just say he did the hybrid symbiotes. So I wonder if he had any control over that.
Well, like if we're thinking about this in the story, I think Carnage only knows that he's only seen him with 4, but should he have 5 because he bonded with those dinosaur ones? Does that count?
Those that's a little unclear because were those real?
I don't know if those were,
or were they were like genetic clones of Venom that from the Doom bomb?
Right,
I think,
but that was like 10 plus years ago, right? I was about to say something else. Yeah, Cates seems like he's pretty much a hardcore Venom fanboy, like a lot of us are. He kind of threw out all of the Space Knight Clintar, we're all good guys.
That was all a lie. Like all a lie they made up.
He said nope, threw it out, and I'm pretty sure he also does not like the idea of Deadpool being the first host. So, which I'm fine with.
Yep, I'm completely fine
all good.
with it.
Yeah.
All good with it.
Now, there's one more point I'd like to make that I don't think anyone has really brought it up. It kind of harkens back to the Web of Venom funeral pyre issue, where we see Andy having these nightmares involving the Mania symbiote, serving as warnings that Carnage is coming. Now, in one of the previous Deadpool issues, there was the Absolute Carnage end credits page that's supposed to tie into the Absolute Carnage. And in that page, we see Deadpool having a nightmare about the Life Foundation symbiotes eating him alive. So I'm thinking maybe we'll see the Life Foundation symbiotes in this book.
That's not a bad guess.
kind of thinking maybe they're just having a nightmare of the symbiotes they bonded with, like maybe the codex in their spine is, I don't know, like giving them a message or something. But I mean, that's a good theory. Yeah, because I'm not too sure what's going to happen in the next two issues. Because is this whole thing supposed to take place in Ravencroft? Because he kind of runs away from it,
burned it down,
like burning down, right? So I'm not too sure what's going to be happening in the next two issues. Because it was like all of the solicits are kind of hush hush, because we didn't even know Mania was going to be in Scream until that first issue came out. So I guess anything could happen, honestly.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't get to say my thoughts about the issue. Overall, like you both, I also thought it was decent. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but if you're someone who's trying to like pick and choose, like you can't buy all the tie-ins like us crazy people are going to be doing. If you have to pick and choose, this is one I would honestly say skip. It doesn't seem like it's going to be important to the story whatsoever. It sounds like it's going to be a wild goose chase of Carnage trying to kill Deadpool.
It might. We never know. You never know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We don't know, but just based on what I'm seeing from this first issue, this seems like to be a mini you might want to skip if you're trying to save money.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, and I mean the writing's all right. It's I tend to like a bit more, like I'm a fan of Deadpool, and I just tend to like a bit more of the balance of seriousness with the comedy, and it's sort of like just that's the balance you need for Deadpool, for a good, well-written Deadpool.
The comedy in this dark story, though. So
yeah, that's fair. But
yeah,
so overall, and for the art wise, the only thing I had to complain about is that I wasn't a fan of how small he draws Carnage's eyes, Dark Carnage's eyes. Like they're just really tiny, and I just prefer the really big symbiote eyes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that some of the Doverton cult members are still around. Like I thought it was going to be just the new Carnage doppelgangers.
I guess they need an army, and they just said, "Hey, we got all these other people. Let's just bring them along."
Yeah, because I guess there was a bunch of dead people in Doverton they just set up in the church, but I guess a bunch of them were still alive, and he just brought them over.
Yeah, the whole cult of Carnage, all that good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So thank you for that, and listen in next week as we review Absolute Carnage #2, Absolute Carnage Miles Morales #1, Absolute Carnage Lethal Protectors #1, and Venom 17.
Lord Jesus.
Yeah,
those are going to be some big issues.
2-hour-long podcast.
So, so you can listen to We Are Venomaniacs on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes, Google Play Music, and YouTube. We can also be found on Twitter at WAV_podcast. Check out our Discord server and become a member of the audience during our next live recording of We Are Venomaniacs. Join us, won't you? As always, thank you to my fellow hosts, Tyler and Aaron, for joining me today.
No problem.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And thanks to the Venom site for permitting us to make this podcast under the TVS banner and all of your generous support. And finally, thank you, loyal listeners and fellow Venomaniacs. You guys make an awesome community, and it's an honor to be your voice on the airwaves. Together, we are Venomaniacs. And now, a word from our partners at The Collective, a network of superhero podcasts.
Hey there! Do you like comic books? Do you like superhero TV and movies? Well, come on over and check out the Capes and Lunatics podcast. We have such shows as Capes and Lunatics and Super Connectivity, where we cover everything new and current and popular in the world of superheroes. And we also have episode-by-episode reviews of the Marvel Netflix shows and a monthly discussion of everything current on the DC Comics character Nightwing, and a few other surprises all the time. So come join us for the Capes and Lunatics podcast.